Try and force it on. La 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 la. Hello there, and in this video we're going to be trying to do some more VEP prep, and I've decided the next stage is I'm going to focus on this Parcel shelf. Now you might notice it's got a fairly interesting colour on it, and that's because it's been attacked by UV. And to explain that in a little bit more detail, I'm now going to show you a little bit more close up. Okay, now I've finished being in the car and being silly. I'll just chuck some extra light on the situation, because fortunately it's not the brightest of working spaces inside the garage, but maybe this will help a little bit. And like I say, you might now see in a little bit more detail what I'm dealing with. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab the phone, if I can get the phone to cooperate, and I'll show you a little bit more close up what's happening. So you can see there, that's where I think it was a map or something Kitch said was left on the Parcel shelf over time, and that's a fairly close colour to what it should be. But everywhere else is just, there's just this sort of fine powdery residue on which just scrapes away, and basically what that is it's the material on the Parcel shelf that's been destroyed by UV. So what's the plan with this? Well, originally I was going to spray paint it, but just out of interest I took a brush and rubbed it the other day and found that it came up quite nicely. So what I'm going to actually do this evening is I'm going to do this across the whole bonnet and see, across the whole bonnet? Across the whole Parcel shelf, and see whether or not I can get a more uniform colour. Now I could try and do this via mechanical means. I do have a set of brushes that I use for cleaning carpets with, but because so much of this material has already been sort of eaten away by UV, I'm reluctant to hit it too hard just in case I wind up getting right back to the backing. So I think for now I'm going to do it by hand, and then maybe, depending on how tough everything feels underneath, I might then hit it with one of those brushes on a drill, perhaps just to get a more even finish if it comes up a bit patchy by hand. Anyway, it's not going to be particularly interesting me talking about that, so obviously what we're going to do now is time-lapse it. You can see the stuff that's coming off. Okay, that's the first little bit done. I think what I might actually do, because I'm generating so much muck, is I'm going to go and fetch a vacuum cleaner just so that I can keep the area tidy as I go along. So stand by. Okay, that's my trusty Henry retrieved. definitely still fibres coming off it even after that, so this finish is certainly not going to last forever. And I've annoyed myself because I think where I've done that first block now, for me, I don't know how it's going to show up on camera, but for me I can definitely see what feels like a bit of an issue there. Speaking of an issue, I'm just going to double check that this isn't about to drop off the window, because it looks like it might be about to. Yes, I think I was a few moments there away from losing you by the looks of things. So anyway, oh, my head's in the way. If we look over there now, I think you'll agree it looks a lot better, but I can see a line where I've tried to work in blocks, and that's going to annoy me, so I've got to try and eliminate that now. It's definitely very thin there, there's not a lot of material left, so like I say, this parcel shelf is definitely going to have to be recovered at some point, but you know, that's not really entirely unexpected given the circumstances. Anyway, I'll crack on. Unfortunately, I think my head torch is about ready for a recharge. However, I've decided reluctantly, in these corners at least, to try a little bit of mechanical assistance. Hopefully this won't destroy everything. Yeah, head torch is pretty much... that's emitting its last cry for help, so... charger cable, that'll be the next question. Right, bear with me folks, I am going to see if I can go and fetch myself another light to work with and put this on charge. Right, I've been thoroughly defeated there on what I was looking for. I have a standalone torch somewhere that I don't know where it is. I really do need, don't get me wrong, that head torch is absolutely fantastic, but I do need some other proper working lights, just to make both filming and working on stuff easier. But anyway, I'm just going to try giving this another hit. I've not charged the battery in this, so I'm not expecting it to last very long, to be honest with you. Now, is that pulling too much material off? It doesn't look too bad actually. Okay. Oh, it's dug in a bit there. Yeah, it might have pulled a little bit too much out there, because that patch now is darker than the rest of this, but we'll proceed. You might be able to see, or at least I can see. In fact, let's give you some video, some close-up video, and you will be able to see, he says when he stops faffing, how much material is being removed. But yeah, I've definitely dug a little bit too deep there with that, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. So that's gone right down to the black base layer. And there are a few other little areas where that's happened anyway, because there's just not a lot of material left. I mean, I did that by hand, so I'm not too bothered about that. Anyway, enough waffling, let's crack on. Sonax upholstery brush in oil. That might do me a little bit better actually. Yeah, it will. Yes, okay, we'll use that. That's I'd forgotten I got that. I've got a proper Sonax upholstery brush there, so we'll crack on with that, I think. It does look like my fears are being realised about how much material's left on this parcel shelf in a few places, because I'm getting down to the black plastic underneath, even by hand, quite quickly. So I'm going to stick with doing the majority of this by hand, even though many of you watching will probably think I'm completely mad for doing so. But it's just to try and avoid ripping a great big hole in the little bit of material that's left. This is very much just a kind of a. Oh, this is very much just kind of a try and preserve it for now situation. But like I say, it's going to struggle to look much worse than it already does, in my opinion. So. Right, I need to try and find something that can get in these corners, because that's really going to irritate me otherwise. Oh, there goes the GoPro. There goes the GoPro. Oh. Hello, how's your head? Are you still there? Yeah, that's, oh wow, yeah, that's very aggressive. That's going to take off much too much material, I suspect. It's quick, but I think it's going to, yeah, that's going to ruin surfaces a little bit too fast. So, but I've sort of got in that corner, sort of. Just get that last bit of fluff out the corner there. I think I can satisfy myself to do the rest with the bigger brush. That's better. It's not going to be perfectly even, but hopefully it should be good enough. Right, let's stop messing around and continue. Anyway, I feel like you get the general idea now, so I am actually going to crack on with the rest of this without any more interruptions. So yeah, I think all I'm going to do now is just keep refining this, and then obviously I've got the edges to do, so I may as well crack on. Oh, blimey. You really don't want to stay up there, do you? So, is this a perfect job? Hell no. Is it loads better than it was before? I certainly think so. Oh, excuse the microphone transmitter. I think it's a hell of a lot better than it was, and maybe once I get the car outside I might be able to do a little bit more refinement with the brush. But part of the problem is that I kept pushing in a few areas thinking I was still removing dead fabric, and the areas that go lighter that haven't gone sort of completely dark, like a few patches have down there to the plastic, are actually getting down to the glue. So it's hard. It was always going to be hard to get an even finish out of this, but I think considering how far gone it looked when I first picked it up, it's really not too bad. And I'm hoping that maybe if I spray this afterwards, I might be able to get it looking reasonably even. There's still enough of a texture on here, I reckon, to get away with it. But yeah, it looks loads better than it did. I'm going to crack on now and refine the sides. I'm not going to bother messing about recording that, and then I will close out with a final result. There we go. You'll have to forgive me, I've put the GoPro away for a moment, so this is on the camera phone audio, but yeah, I think that looks loads better than it did. Annoyingly, the cameras, both the GoPro and this, are actually boosting the brightness on this, so what I'll include now is a before and after picture, and that should give you a better idea of the actual difference it's made. Like I say, unfortunately, the camera seems to want to brighten everything, which is just sort of, I think it's spoiling some of the effect of how much darker it is. The back of those seats is currently being made far brighter by this video foam than they actually are. So yeah, trust me, it's considerably darker. It's not perfect. I have just gone over it with a little bit of Auto Glim car shampoo in a spray bottle and giving it a wipe down, so there are a few damp patches as well. But I know it's not going to be perfectly even, and considering the fact that this is a 40-year-old heavily UV damaged parcel shelf, I'm over the moon with how that looks. It's perfectly usable, and like I say, it may even respond to a little bit of a spray with some dye or something just to even things out later on. But that's going to be it for this episode of VEP Prep for Rustival. Thank you very much for watching. Please do consider subscribing before you go, and I'll see you in another one where hopefully we'll be cracking on with those seats.